I'm Mia from Putting Words in Your Mouth, and today I'm going to be talking about those tough IEP meetings when you are trying to put a child on a consultative basis type of therapy service delivery, or when you are trying to dismiss a child. Now, if you have been around a little while and seen my posts on social media, you'll know that I am a big proponent of talking about dismissal being the ultimate goal from the very first IEP meeting, something you should talk about at the first one and continue to talk about at every IEP meeting after that. That way, when it comes time for dismissal, the parent will already perceive this as a positive experience, a positive milestone, and not a negative one. Everybody wants us, everybody loves us because we're the best speech language pathologists I'm talking about. And they don't always react well when we are going, have made the decision that we are recommending the termination of services. But that is the ultimate goal. And it's always our job for children not to need us anymore. That is what we aim for. And so we need to be very upfront about with parents about that from the very beginning. And so today I'm going to tell you a story about an IEP I attended. A therapist asked me to attend when I was in a leadership position in the district. And this is how it went. So this was, and I know, I really want to do this topic because I think it serves every grade level, regardless of which age students you work with. So this is a story about a child who had been in therapy, speech therapy and special education since he was the age of 3. And when I attended this IEP meeting, I believe he was 19. So the parents, liked that he got speech therapy. They did not want that to end, but it had been years and years since he had made any progress. And that child was in a self-contained class all day because he had a severe disability. So we go into the meeting and the therapist proposes dismissal, and the parents immediately become very upset, like she had predicted. And the dad was a physical therapist. So I kind of tried to explain to him that what's very important, and this is true for all of our students who are in special education, is that rather than us working on communication, 30 minutes a week or an hour a week or whatever it may be, it was more important for the classroom teacher to work on communication because that is who he is with all day, every day. And even better, it would be awesome if the paraprofessionals, or whatever you may call them, in your district, worked with him on communication all day, every day. That we had laid the foundation, we had taken him as far as he could go, he had reached a plateau, and we really needed to, instead of providing direct services, coach and train the staff in the classroom to facilitate language. And we all know that is super important. There are some teachers who are great at that, and there are para pros that are great at that, and there are some that are not and feel like it's just us not wanting to do that job and that they're doing the work for us. But that is, it really is the most beneficial for the child. In fact, in our district for life skills students, we always checked off the person responsible for the communication goal would not only be us if we were providing a service, but it would also be the classroom teacher because they are with them more. It just makes sense. And let's face it, communication is a life skill. It's a life skill. So He was very adamant that he wanted the qualified professional to be addressing communication, not a teacher who had not gotten a master's degree in that area. And so luckily, because he was a physical therapist, I was able to kind of use the scenario that, well, it also didn't hurt that I was going to physical therapy at the practice where he worked. That, I go to physical therapy, and the physical therapist works with me for about 10 minutes. But for the other 50 minutes I am there, the technicians work with me. So I'm not even receiving the qualified professional for the whole extent of the therapy. So I think that made something click in him to kind of start to realize that it's not about us being the speech language pathologist being the only person who can work on communication, and that it's more beneficial, in fact, for the people who are with him all the time to be working on communication. And that's certainly something that we can train them to do. We're obviously, that works better with some teachers and aides than it does with others, but training them to do so is very important. So we made a compromise. Instead of dismissal, the therapist put the child on a consultative model. And in the past in our district, a consultative model meant you checked in with the teacher to find out how they've been doing with communication or with their communication goal. And that was kind of it. Well, we knew this dad was not going to let that fly. So that he wanted more. And we also needed to gain his trust. So that therapist created a weekly page that she would give to the classroom teacher in Paris of things for them to work on all week long. And on Fridays, she would go pick up that paper and see what had happened. Because there were trust issues between the classroom personnel and the speech pathologist, she also had whoever did the skill, worked on the skill with the child, sign their name. So basically it went like this. She had a page that would say, let's say, eat daily, he will do these things. So greet at least 5 people while navigating the campus. If he were to become frustrated with something, he would just act out, but the page required that they prompt him and ask if he needed help. He did have a bit of verbal ability and access to AAC, so he was able to do those kinds of things. Some other things were like asking for help in the lunchroom if he could not prepare, or unwrap and disassemble the things they give them for lunch. And take turns during morning time and that kind of thing. And so whoever was with the child, this 19-year-old student, would document what he did and didn't do and what things they did to try to facilitate. So she had this weekly paper. Also smart on her part, she sent that same paper home and kind of adapted it for a home. So she would send that paper home on Monday, and it would say, greet 3 people who come to the home that week, or ask for help, use his replacement behavior of asking for help rather than acting out when he became frustrated, saying good night and good morning to everyone, and different functional skills like that. So the parents totally bought into this, and the staff, there were some staff members that were hesitant to do it, felt slighted that they were being given this extra work. but then there were some that were really all in and invested, and it worked out to be a great thing. So much that, we told other faculty about it, other speech pathologists who were encountering similar situations. And it really turned out great. I mean, he was getting more facilitation in the classroom because they were going to have to sign their name, and mom and dad were doing more at home. So I think that was a great compromise to dismissal. The next year, dismissal did happen. So I think gaining that trust, and then, with the speech pathologist, because he was in high school, the parents didn't have a lot of interaction with his service providers, but this kind of year of having this consultative service on paper really gained their trust. And then when the next IEP meeting came around, they were more receptive to her recommendations because they had seen that she was invested in him, and she was consistent and did what she said she would do. So if you are, in this similar situation, thought this might help you. I do want to say too, I'll talk a little bit more about this in another video, but if you are going into a life skills class, or you're going into any special education class where you feel like the teacher and you are doing the same things, then you probably want to stretch and try to do something different from the teacher. Because I understand, like, I've been in those shoes where you're going into a classroom and you're doing what you know to do, but the teacher's doing the exact same thing. And it feels like a duplication of services. And it feels like you're not using your expertise. If you start to feel like a para, then that may be a time where you want to consider doing more training with the teacher or the other staff in the classroom, and then going toward a consultative model or dismissal, because these children are with their teachers more than they're with us. So if we can get their teachers good at doing what we do, or if they're already doing what we do, then our specialized services may not be needed, because they're taking care of it. They're meeting the students' needs. So just some things to think about this evening, and I hope that your week is off to a great start, and we'll talk soon. Leave me some questions down below, and I'll try my best to answer them. I hope this helps.